G4. We're live, Mr. Wade. I yield, sir.
Good night. Good night to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad. Welcome to our 346th edition of our Belizean Affairs show. It's a pleasure once again to sit in your company, Leonard. You know,
Pleasure is mine too, Mr. Wade.
as we sit here and bring to the nation and our people, the ills of our country, the what's really going on, and you know, as how we see the present situation. And in terms, there are times that we offer our solutions, the way we see that how things can get done better. Um, we call out the ills as we see it, and when they when the leaders do good in a country, we do not rumble on it. We call out the good part, and when we applaud them. But we do have to speak on the issues that pertaining to our people and nation. As long as you're
Amen.
a patriotic person, a non-patriotic person, I don't. In my view, they don't give a hoot what the government and what the leaders does, and they go on to life as usual. They don't really care. But there are a lot of Belizean that really do care, what takes place in the nation. And on that note, as always, we might have our technician, Mr. Gregory Brackett. He might be in the back queuing up. I don't know what uh, really going on in Belize City per se. I understand there's a lot of rain. In fact, there's a lot of rain across the nation of Belize for the past week or so on a daily basis. Lots of flooding. But as always, we start our program with a prayer and followed by a reading. And tonight I'll ask Mr. Leonard Brackett to lead us in a prayer and then followed by a reading.
Yes,
Leonard, you want to
yes,
go
sir.
ahead?
Thank you very much. I'll just bow my head. Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would continue to have mercy upon us, that thou would hear our humble expression of gratitude and thankfulness to thee, first of all, for the privilege of life that thou have accorded us, and secondly, for the opportunity to still be alive today among our family members, friends, and loved ones. We pray that thou mayest bless our family, each and every one of them. Thou knowest them by name and number. Thou knowest our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts, loving Father. We pray that thou mayest bless our friends as well, that thou mayest bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, and that thou would bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership as well. We pray that thou mayest continue to bless the rest of humanity, and especially those people who are in harm's way, who are in war zones and are being killed, sometimes for no justifiable reason, those who are being maimed and are left in dire straits. We pray that thou mayest bless also those people who have need of food, clothes, shelter, others, other people who also are in hurricane disasters, flooding, and people who are in earthquake and volcano eruptions, and all manner of pestilence and disasters on the face of this earth, including man-made disasters, loving Father. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. You want to proceed
You're
with
welcome,
a
Mr.
reading
Yes, sir.
for us? Thank you.
I will do a reading from, I'll read Proverbs chapter 5, verses 1, 2, 3, and 4. It reads as follows: My son, attend unto my wisdom, and how thine ear to my understanding, and, bow thy ear unto my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For, for the lips of a strange woman drop at as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. Verse 4, but her end is hither as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. And that's the end of the reading for tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the privilege to participate along with you and the opportunity to do the prayer and the reading. I yield back, sir.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Leonard. My people, a lot had transpired over the past month, but we here on this program, you know, we have been, talking about all the traffic accidents, the lives lost, um, and before then we had talked about a couple of times we had some serious flooding in the country. Um, we have through our medium has offered a couple of insight about solutions in the traffic department, where they can improve, and we also talk about the things that they should stop doing,
Mhm.
um, because there are lots of illegalities that doesn't make sense that they're doing, and partly contribute, partly, in my view, contribute to some of these fatalities. Bear in mind, you have foreigners traversing in this country, and a lot of them, do not are used to this kind of highways. Um, so there's lots of wrongs on the highway in terms of signage and speed bumps and not properly signed. Um, Bad conditions of our highways. You're driving and suddenly some big holes pop up in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And on newly built road too, Leonard, newly built road, not even a year old road, you know. Um, so we talk about all these things, and the accidents keep happening. We talk about the rules of the road, and how the transport department should disseminate our driver's license to people coming into the country that has no idea of our traffic laws. And I have even personally talked about that sign that says "eel." I have stopped at some of these signs that said "eel," and I watch the actions of some drivers. Um, a lot of them do not understand the word, the meaning, the actual meaning of that word "eel," "eel." So, um, you know, again, I say publicly that they should stop um, selling our driver's license cheaply, and when they do it, um, they are jeopardizing lives, as these people that get these driver's license illegally, and
Mm-hmm.
right away they go on the highway. So that's room for disaster, right? That's just one, right? And we have pointed out many other points that they could be taken. They need to upgrade It's time 2025. Some of the bus terminals in deplorable conditions, deplorable. I advise the transport officials. I'm not going to call their names to maybe go on the internet and look up other countries, their terminals. They don't have to go too far. Go right over in Mexico. What Chetumal, right? And take a little lesson, right? Spend a day over there. The taxpayers will pay you, right? And come back with some good ideas. There's lots of money that's given to the transport department. Put it to good use. Put it where it belongs. Put it so the commuters could get some benefit of it and be happy of it. So there's a lot to be desired. Um, these are things that I personally had ranted from in the 90s. I had called out the bus terminal in Belmopan, which is the capital city,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I have lived abroad for many years. I've traveled, and I have seen, and I have seen and went into nice bus terminals. So it's far from good, far from good. So take heed, Mr. Transport Minister and officials. And we talk about the June to November. It doesn't stop. It's a yearly thing. June to November. June to November. From ever since I knew myself was born. June to November. It's hurricane season, right? And yet, Leonard, that you'd say from over the past 60 years plus, we do not have a well put together hurricane shelter in our country, right? But what they do, they use the schools that is not equipped for that. They use some people's home. They use uh, some community centers that don't even have roof. Deplorable, right? Don't even have windows. And I'm telling you the truth, right? Um, and I say 2025. Now here you have, we in this program has been calling this for many years now. Many years. It's high noon. High noon that the government takes some initiative, takes some pride, have some shame. And not to mention my people, the nation, and the world, especially those who donate handsomely to our hurricane disasters, our hurricane season, right? You have a hell of a lot of donations comes into this country. We just want to tell you that it's not going to where it should go. The taxpayers first give a lot of money in times of disaster. Yet we do not have proper hurricane shelter, which is needed because I cannot say June to November tornadoes. I cannot say earthquake. No, I said June to November. It's the hurricane season in Belize. So am I talking crap? So those people who have to, whenever a storm is threatened, commute from Belize City, usually to up west. Everybody goes west. And Mr. Prime Minister and the hurricane people, and not tell me, no, that does not. That happened before maybe someone who even come to this country, right? Or was born, some of you ministers. I'm telling you, everybody that leaves Belize City and adhered to the hurricane threat, they come west. And they either
Mhm.
come to a family member house or goes to the schools around and around the west, goes to the uh, community centers, but they are in deplorable conditions, right? So these modern ministers and call themselves people in power have no shame. In my view, I say they have no shame, right? And yet they keep begging, 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 right? Not too long ago, this is my little rant. So bear with me, there, Leonard, please.
No
Bear
problem,
with
sir.
me.
No problem.
Um, Not too long ago, again in the house, they want money, begging again for money. So every time these so-called leaders come to the people's house, it's to beg for money. And each time, 98% of the time, the money they're begging, they just begged for it 3 months ago, or 4 months ago, or a year
Hmm.
ago. But they
Hmm.
beg for the same darn item. So I ask, because I'm stupid. So what happened to the money you begged for the last time for that same item that you are begging for now? I may be stupid to want to know that. So says, I listened to this man, Briseño. We have to get a loan, because we want to have um, emergency funds. That's one, and I will not bubble on the other reason why he wants this money. But one of the items that he want because of to have so the nation could have a little emergency funds. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Right? That's what he's barking after the other people on the other side because they do the same damn thing. The opposition, so-called opposition that we have in this country. I don't know who the hell they are, but all I could say the word opposition, right? They do the same damn thing to the Belizean people, right? When they are in power, when they get the opportunity to uplift the nation and uplift the people, what do they do? Same crap like the PUP. Full their pockets, full their bank account. So all I'm saying is that we need more people to be carrying out these kinds of ills. When will it stop? Well, I could suggest maybe when they are all no more. That's the only way. Maybe when they are all no more. That's the only time in my book I would see that maybe it will stop. But for right now, once we have this two darn party system that has us where we at 2025, nothing will change, right? So, my people, you will keep getting your bukut left, right, and center. Some big ones, some small ones, some green ones, some dry ones. You will keep getting your bukut, right? Because that's the slang, that's the famous word that Belizeans are used to, right? So until you are tired of it, of course you can do something about it. But maybe right now, 2025, you're not tired. And again, I listen to this man again. Oh no, you see what happened? Now this new thing, again the Guatemalans. And you know what? He says on his speech not too long ago, a few days ago, says, that's not the action of the Guatemalan government. He says, no. He said, they In fact, I have his word as per se, but I right, but pretty much that
Apologies, Mr.
rogue element that is threatened, and seems that this is something new to this man. This never happened 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, or last year and the year and the year and the year before. No, this is something new. Yeah, and that's not the way the Guatemalan government work. These are pretty much like rogue, rogue members of the Guatemalan army, right? So
Well,
he's still sympathizing to his friend over there, the Guatemalan people, the Guatemalan leaders. He sympathized with them, and they are nice people. They don't know nothing what the military they do, according to him. So and then we will send another letter again, to the ministry, the Guatemalan people there, and tell them about their action and all that, and oh, but otherwise, they are good people. So now you have the OAS and other organization condemning. You see, the outside entity that is condemning their action, but the prime minister of this country is not condemning to the max their action. And through this medium, I've always said, another medium that I've been on, I've always said that it's not going to end well. As long as we have this two-party system, that 98% of them has no loyalty to the country and people, that has no guts, right? That refuse to take a stand and easily compromise, we will forever have the Guatemalan army aggressing us. And again, we will talk a little bit more on that, And again, you see where in this country of Belize, there are certain elements of society that is more higher up than certain elements. Certain human being in Belize is more superior to certain human in Belize. You've had the saga with the prime minister sister. All the people's purse taxes, maybe
11
25
million.
times what Mr. Munnings, the young man, had owed. But you see what they did with that gentleman?
Mr. Chairman, 11 million, sir, was the number
11 million, right?
compared to 178,000.
Right. So I'm just highlighting this because I see it as wrong. And that's why I mentioned there are certain people that can do certain things in this country, and certain people can't do it because they will be hung for what they do. So pretty much the same thing, the same crime, the same murder, but only because the murder from certain people on certain sector of society is is less serious than certain murder, the word murder in society. I'm just drawing that illustration, right? And not too long ago, the same Prime Minister, Johnny Briceño, in 2018, oh man, he had a lot to say when he was in opposition. A lot about Guatemalan incursion in Belize. Man, he spewed it out because he was really upset because the Teen Barrow admin wasn't doing right and incursion from way back then. But anyway, he had a lot to say what he will do because this isn't right and this and that. So where is the balls now? 2025, when you have the power, where is the balls now? And where is the guts? Where is the balls and where is the guts to stand up to Guatemala, because that's what you said you was going to do if you had that power that Dean Barrow had then. You have it now, Mr. Man. And this is the same Prime Minister, Johnny Briceño, that allowed a whole container, whatever was in that damn container, to a lady in Orange Walk, one of his supporters. And you know what happened? That lady didn't pay no kind of duty for that whole container of items that came across. And it was public. And you know what he did afterward? He fired the public officer that wanted to collect and was charging the lady doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
He got fired. That's his immediate reaction. That is his persona. Right? Right there and then. Now, this is your leader, right? Then look, 13th Amendment. Right? Look what he, So, isn't this country like pivoting to an authoritarian state? Huh? Because it seems that only these people, Leonard, could do things and say things and get away with it. And what they say is gazetted. Who dare question Johnny Briceño? Who dare question him? In fact, he don't even want to answer questions the way he should answer. He answered, and if you like it, you like it, and to hell with you, right? So all I'm saying is that, who does these people, think they are? I would like for them to, because they clearly are not acting like they're human beings. That's only me thinking that way, right? The People's United Government right now, and the leadership, the Belizean people, the level of confidence that they had when you paid for all that votes right away and all that hype, that level is going down, Mr. Briceño. Okay? Confidence is about 96% right now. And what he's trying to build up now, to the Belizean people, he said it a couple days. I'll give you your minimum wage is not $5 anymore, it's $6. And he make it like, damn, it's $600, right? Like he's doing the Belizean people a favor. $3 US. $3 US. You just raised it to $6. And he's happy about that, and he did the nation a favor. And knowing that before he did that, the economy went up 300 or 400%. Right? So you do the math.
Good night.
So you want to say something, Leonard?
No, sir. I was my daughter was saying good night.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
so I'm just bringing out some of the things that I see that I need to talk about. And there are many other things that this man and his government had done in this country where I see it's gross abuse of power. He uses the seat, they uses the mandate for their own personal gain, right? Which they should not. And the oath that they swear to protect and serve the nation of Belize, that is not true, right? That was only in words, but nothing is coming in terms of what they should be doing for the people and the nation. And lastly, um, this is a man that likes to boast on little things, but the main issue right now is, and a lot of people is talking about it, is the way he is handling the abduction. In fact, he couldn't even pronounce abduction right on his last speech. No, he said it like twice before he got that word right. There, his government and the police and yeah, and his ministers, because that question was put to him too, is not. He could vouch. He you know, and if you could see the demeanor in that man when he mentioned not involved, right? Like that those words creeped out. He didn't want to vomit it, right? You know, as for me, I am not a profiler or whatever. I'm not certified. I could profile that he's guilty and his government is guilty, right? For in the word, when I say guilty, is to say that the government and the police and his ministers and his leaders, none of them is involved. How he could come up with that right away, could say that they are not involved. And you see how we got a terrorist in this country, right? We see how that played out, how they magnified this gentleman record so nice, and he had rehabilitated, and he's a good man, and he watching, and he had done no, and we pardon him, and he should come back into society. A terrorist, guilty, jailed, had spent spending time in the U.S. for crimes that he had committed, ended up in Belize with a platter served to him. That went well with the Belizean people, but the way they did the Budna situation, not going well with the Belizean people. And I have said through this medium that, you know, very soon we will get the real essence of what really took place and who are the players that played in that game, right? And I just hope and pray again, I'll say this, that the family of families of Mr. Ryan Buddha seek some good legal help, assistance, and get to the bottom of it, have it investigated to the fullest and the way it should be investigated. And I still call on an independent investigation. How can you have the same department that is involved, right, to be investigating themselves? How can that happen and you will get a sane outcome? No, you will get an insane outcome, right? So, you know, again, 250 million was given to the Belizean government a few days ago in the name of doing certain things, right? And sadly, you know, that money, like all the monies, will not be accounted for. And the persona of Mr. Briceño, they want to import more labor force in Belize because everybody is working in Belize. Everybody is working. There is no shortage. We need to import labor. And here I mentioned $250 million. And you know what? They had conflicting sides in his administration as to, you know, they want to dump the people that Trump is sending, to their country, and there are some that their country that Trump is sending them do not want them. So we are thinking about taking these people, right? That their country is vomiting out, right? Do not want them for whatever reason. We thinking, and here I mentioned 25. Before that, they had no. That was they thinking about it before they got that 250,000 million dollars, right? But after they're thinking now, they're leaning towards that because they're going to take the skilled people who have skill, right? And we're going to take them in because we need the country need laborers, right? The workforce is diminishing, and we need to import these people. So that's one of the criteria. This Zabani guy says, yes, see, they all work together, in the house. He says, we are thinking about importing. He said, and there's a right way to do it. Are we going to the importation of laborers into Belize the right way, right? So I'm just trying to say, because I say sometimes fool talk, but I'm not fool listen, right? Fully talk, but I'm not fully listen, right? So, I have a lot more, as to calling out the ills and the nasty things that this two-party system is doing and has done to us. We got to keep reminding the nation and the world, because, I just hope and pray that one day they will all be held accountable for their actions. On that note, I want to pass it over to Leonard. Go ahead, Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to touch on the last point that you raised just now about the importation into Belize, or the migration into Belize of massive amount of people from all over the place. Let me deal first with the Zabane thing so I could get that off quickly. The Zabane family have always been doing agricultural related work in Stan Creek district. It got to a point where the banana company that they were running was being so successful, not with workers from Stan Creek, whom should have been given the opportunity to get some work so that they could take care of their family. They were marginalized and just brushed aside. And the Zabanese were allowed to make people come in across the border to service their farm for them. Presumably those people are working harder for less money, and therefore to them it was a matter of economics. They had no consideration for the fact that those people who were being brought in to work for them would then become what you call a political liability. That is that the Zabanese also, because of their connection with the government high officials, acquired hundreds of thousands of acres of land all over the place. And they took some of those lands. Initially, they built some row houses. Well, not row houses. They built some, what they call them, I forget.
Long barracks.
Long barracks. They built some long barracks originally, in which they were hosting most of their migrant workers. The people, they would come in and work, and then they would go home on weekend back across the border, or maybe they'll stay 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, or some of them will stay longer if they don't have families to go back to. And some of those same people eventually stayed long enough that the Zabane families, they took some of the lands that they had gotten almost for free from the government to do this big venture that would bring in foreign exchange to the coffers of the country, as well as taxes to the government, which according to the records never materialized. But some of those lands were subdivided, and they made a number of different villages to host these people. They gave them lands to build for their house, for them to build their houses on. They gave them the jobs so they could earn the money to build their houses, while the people in Stand Creek town were languishing, needed a job. There was no job for them at the I think it was Same Bite they call it. Is that Same Bite pier or some kind of pier right there close by Stand Creek?
Jetty pier.
Uh-huh.
Jetty.
But I remember a long time ago they used to have a company named Hercules that used to do some they used to cut the when they cut the lampposts and the pine trees them, they left the stump. And this company had gotten the contract to dig up the stump them, process them, and make what then became known as pine Isle or pine sol or something to that extent. Anyhow, that company used to do business off of that pier, and therefore some of the people in Stand Creek used to have a chance to get a little job or a little end with them. But now the Zabani companies them have grown so big, so successful, and the people who used to come across the border to work for them have become stable people now in the country. Their children are being born there, so by any stretch of the imagination, they are legitimate Belizeans per se, according to the Constitution. If you're born in the country, you're born. If you're born there, like they say, no? So they become legal citizens of the country. The newborn kids didn't have to apply for no documentations to prove who they were or where they were born, whereas the parents later on had to apply. Some of them did, and with bogus paperwork and whatever. However, the whole process worked out that everything worked out good for them, but not for the local Belizeans. In other words, they were catered to. The same thing happens in Belize City. Most of the dark-skinned people that live in Belize City lives on the south side. A few of them live on the north side, what we would call the affluent black elite people. But then you also have gangs on the south side, on the north side and the south side. But you don't see any gang suppression effort being exercised on the north side, like for example in a Majestic Theatre Alley, right? And Pink's Alley and other areas where it is known that they have, gang-related issues and drug issues and so on going on. You don't see the Prime Minister throwing on SOE in the Fort George Division, which is where Majestic Alley and Majestic Theatre is. Or they're not throwing on the Gongolong area and many other areas. But they show SOE about 18 times so far in a short space of time. In the small area where the small black community live, and everybody in that area is subjected to the SOE rules, when in fact there should not be any SOE because they have not met the threshold that the Constitution requires to constitute and validate putting an SOE. So what they do is they turn around and victimize people. And they do that, with no regards, like you said, the man, Mr. Kohi, said, well, they want to go ahead and do it anyhow. They want to bring in the people in, as if we don't have people in Belize that need to learn a trade, or need to have a trade, need to have a job, need to be able to maintain their family, like any and everybody else. You have to go bring in the other people in from outside, give them the job, make them land on the fly or on the job site itself, and make them be the one to earn a living so that they could take care of their family, while the local Belizean people are sucking their fingers, sitting down at home, waiting for the next election to come around. You go at the construction sites, them You barely see any black Belizeans, for example. Okay? So many different things are happening in the country that should not be happening, neither legally, constitutionally, morally, or ethically. But I'll switch to the other point that I wanted to bring up,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if
Oh,
you allow
oh,
me
go ahead.
to. May I? Or
Go
you are
ahead.
about to bring something
No, go
else?
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll talk to the topic of the Guatemalan harassment of the Belizean security forces, as well as harassment of local Belizeans who wants to go to the Sarsoon for their annual trip. They are now being denied the right to be able to do that. When our constitution says that nobody should be denied their right to travel any part of Belize, whether or not south, east, or west. Our government is getting in the situation and has gotten in the situation where they are trying to prohibit or discourage our local Belizeans from exercising their constitutional right, all under the guise that, well, because Guatemalans are intimidating them and taking possessions of those areas and claiming that they own it. And in order not to have any confrontation with them, we must let them have their way and do what they want. Uh, I had something here that I'd ask you if I would be allowed to read, and I think maybe this would be the appropriate time for me to venture into that, if you allow me, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I'll beg your indulgence, sir. Let's see quickly. Okay, here it is. Okay. I had written an essay today. I published it today on the Facebook. I'm having a little problem. Oh, I know why. I only have one of my. Okay. So I wrote an article today. First of all, I was indulged or involved with a back and forward uh, argument over the Guatemalan claim and the Guatemalans' nefarious behavior on the Sarstoon with some Guatemalan sympathizers. And we were having this argument and discussion in Spanish. So the original part of this essay was written up as response to what was being discussed at the time on the internet. And so I had to translate it also back into English for the benefit of those who are going to hear it now in English as well as in Spanish. I said the following comments were made by Leonard Brackett on a Facebook posting about Guatemala's armed forces aggression against Belize and the Belize security forces and Belizean civilians at the Sarsoon River. And I titled the article Guatemalan Armed Forces Aggression Against Belize. And this is the English version, so I'm going to be reading from the English version. I said, why Guatemala does not go and talk and do, because basically they were hard talking or military, like to try and encourage them to get into a confrontation, right? And then they were using the Guatemalan boat to bump into the Belizean boats to try and see if they could crack or smaller boats or have some of them get sink or basically they were terrorizing them. So I said, why Guatemala does not go and talk and do those aggressive stupidness against Mexico on their Pacific borders, which in fact they had done before, and they had gotten themselves disciplined by Mexico. Okay. So I asked the retort question, and I went on to say, instead of trying to take advantage or bullying against Belize, and I opened bracket and said, Mexico had disciplined Guatemala a few times before. I went on further in the next paragraph to say that Guatemalans don't have the fortitude to confront Mexico, but they can find fortitude to confront Belizeans to try and steal Belizean lands with their with their malignant, revisionist, misinformed, whitewash history. That is, they go around propagating a history or a story that is not does not comport with the facts, and then they try to hide behind it and say, well, that part of the land and river that they're on the island that they're trying to dispossess us of or take control of and denying us access to, that according to the way they revise their history, it should belong to them, as compared to what the historical facts stated in the um, border agreement in 1859. And I went on to say, Guatemala has always coveted other people's lands, like, for example, Mexican lands in the Pacific border with Guatemala, Honduran lands, for example, in the Atlantic area with Puerto Barrios, which belongs to not Guatemala, but actually belongs to Honduras, which Guatemala had rented from Honduras for 100 years. And when the 100 years lease was over, they refused to give it back. Even up to today's date, they're still holding possession of that piece of property instead of turning it back to Honduras. And they also had confrontation with the Salvadorians, whom they have been trying to take land from, and which is why Guatemala was fighting a war when they had made the treaty with us for border settlement purposes, that in 1859, and they could not complete the whole process because of having a war with El Salvador. Then after when the war was finished, then they came back and they wanted to start the whole process all over again and start demanding new terms to the existing agreement that was already put in motion, as well as the covet territory of Belize. They have coveted those territory from before they became a republic, when they had the joint Central American captaincy. So they had always wanted Belize, but could not acquire Belize because they were not in no military position to take over Belize. They never invaded Belize. They never had control of Belize. The British didn't take Belize from them, nor we, the Belizean people, never took Belize from them. They never had possession of it, but they want to take possession of it because they want to claim that they should take possession of anything that should have belonged to Spain, when in fact Spain tried to take possession of Belize and could not, and had to yield Belize to the Belizeans after the Battle of St. George's Caye. Because it was not just the Battle of St. George's Caye that was going on at the time. A lot of other places were fighting each other. Spain was fighting against France, against Britain, against the Portuguese. They were all fighting each other. And therefore you had what they call the War of the Saints. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, all over the place, right? Including Ambergris Caye, which at that time was, Belize was the focal headquarters to Belize. And prior to that, the Mexicans had made quite a few trips to try and dislodge Belizeans from Belize, and had succeeded one instance when they took some of the people and carried them as far as Cuba. But some of the people never left the land. They went inland and lived among the Mayans and among the other people with whom they were doing business before. And others went to Honduras, to Ratan, to Vanaca. Others went to Bluefield in Nicaragua. Others went to live among the people in the Black River area there. They call them I don't remember the name right now, but anyhow, the Mosquito people them, okay, in Honduras and Nicaragua area there. And others went to Jamaica. So there came Guatemala at one point, wanting to go and dislodge the British team from Trujillo in Honduras, and also from Black River settlements in Nicaragua and Honduras, in Blue Fields also. The Captain General Mateo Galvez, with his military and his naval expedition, was soundly beaten by the Bay people and the British, and was sent packing back to Guatemala. They never did put one foot on Belizean soil. Those of you who have traveled to Guatemala and who know Puerto Barrios never did belong to Guatemala either. Like I said, it belonged legally to Honduras. So Guatemala never did have any real Atlantic outlet per se. But because of the new modern rules of the what you call under International Maritime Areas Act, Maritime Areas Rule, countries have to work out deals with each other whereby no country is left landlocked totally. And that is the reason why the hoodwink or small brain politicians then enter into the agreement with the what is now known as the Maritime Areas Act. That is to cede to Guatemala an ability to be able to come out on the Atlantic or to come into the Pacific, not the Pacific, the Caribbean. Okay, so that's what that was about. But at the end of the day, if you allow me, just I think I took more time because I was
Yeah.
elaborating, Mr. Chairman. I used up a lot
You
more of
finish
the
up?
time. Let me just quickly. I think I just want to read the two small paragraphs in Spanish for the records. And this is the Spanish version, which was the original posting that I had made before I did the translation, which I just previously read. And the Spanish version goes like this: ¿Por qué Guatemala no van a hablar esas pendejadas contra México en el Pacífico sin cobardía, en lugar de tratar de tomar ventaja o bullying contra Belice? No tienen huevos para enfrentar a México, pero sí encuentran huevos para enfrentar y tratar de robar terrenos de Belice. Guatemala siempre ha tenido codicia contra terrenos ajenos. Por ejemplo, el terreno, la República de México, la República de Honduras, la República de Salvador y terrenos de Belice. And that was that. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Thanks for the
you.
time
Thank
spared
you.
for that presentation.
Today the question was asked by a news anchor to Briseño if he has anything to say about the release from the Guatemalan authority that the BDF was the aggressor and they were only responding back. The word back from the Prime Minister to the reporter, well, I haven't seen that release, so I cannot speak on it, and he left.
The man is an apologist. He's an idiot.
So there you go again, my people. Those who are patriotic people in this country, these are the actions of your leader. As for me, I blame the two-party system. Blame them for letting Guatemala got away for so many years, right? But only they know why they did it. and continue to do it. Um, I left that for the people to decide. But I am just referencing to what has been going on by the two-party system that governs our country for so many years. And I would say this as a former member of the security forces in this country, um, that these individuals has no guts, they are not patriotic, and they could care less. Um, and they will continue to play that out until something really, really, really serious uh, take place in this nation. Um, my references to the Guatemala issue, right? Something serious is going to happen. Um, my people, the ICJ was something that never should have happened. Then they roped in Honduras, roped in and uh, stand in line and took pursuant also. So what is happening? What is happening? And don't forget Mexico also, right? They can. So what are they trying to do? I noticed as to my observation that this um, government that we have right now is relinquishing slowly ties to the British. That's going to be very detrimental, and it's going to be detrimental to this nation. Um, it depends on what diplomacy plays into it, but the way they are going about it, it's very rogue, and it's not the right way in relinquishing interests from the very same people that has been defending this nation for centuries. And they're slowly in line, getting chummy with the US. A lot of these fool that we call leaders that we keep electing, a lot of them don't know that the US have more interest in Guatemala. And I'll say this for the record, you little junior ministers and junior politicians and think that you know it all. One of them says that, Belize does not have any border, right? So, and I'll say no more on that. Um, and it's an older guy too, and that really hit me when that individual said that publicly. I don't know where he is right now, if he is alive or gone or here or there, I don't know. But that came from his mouth. I'm not hearing you, Leonard.
Man said that he was our foreign minister. He was speaking on behalf of Guatemala and being a foreign minister on behalf of Guatemala instead of when
So,
Belize was paying him.
so to
Crazy.
continue here, I and I think I educate some of these ministers, some of these I call them boys, right? And I have all my reasons why I say that, right? Some of these boys now that has the power, they do not know that. But I'm telling them, the US has more interest in Guatemala than Belize. But the US will appreciate it because they will use Belize. They will use Belize. And it's easy. These politicians now that we have, some for fifth columnists and all them, that we have right now, they always have their hands like this. They will sell their mother,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once the US to keep throwing money, the US could have and say whatever they want, right? Because, like I say, some of them would sell their mother. Sue me for that. But anyway, I say this to say that they have no loyalty to this nation, right? They could care less in the next 10 years what happens to this nation. And maybe sooner than then, because we are at the ICJ, and yet none of them has the balls. The Inbaro didn't have the balls, the UDP, nor this PUP didn't have the balls to come to the nation. Because you see, they are kings and gods and goddess. And tell them, this is why Guatemala is taking us to court, to the ICJ. And these are the charges that Guatemala is charging. I'm just saying this, because a lot of Belizeans right here, in fact, at home and abroad, does not know why we, the Belize nation, is at the ICJ. A lot of them do not know why. All they know that Belize is at the ICJ with Guatemala. So I say this to say that November 5th, not too long from now, the case will commence. And maybe it finished the same day. Who knows? Right? Maybe. Or maybe it drags on for the next 5 years or 5 days. I can't say. But it starts. And when you go to court, my people, there has to be a winner and a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So bear that in mind. And who is to blame? Blame your UDP past henchman, Mr. Dean Oliver Barrow and his henchmen. Blame him. Along with the People's United Party. Okay? That's who I will blame. I don't know about you. As a born Belizean and a patriotic Belizean, very patriotic, love this country, I will blame them, whether good or bad. So, go ahead, Leonard.
On that point that you were saying just now about who we should blame, they all stood up on the rostrum before the ICJ referendum to solicit that everybody in the country work together, because they were standing together, all the foreign ministers, them and the prime ministers and whatever else not, to show support for that cause. That is to say, the whole Belizean community was in agreement with what was being carried on, while they were lying to the people and bamboozling the people, changing the law to get the people to come up with satisfying the Guatemalans their needs. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
So, my people, these are serious issues. These are issues that we are sitting on, right? It's a time bomb. Whether it's gonna explode with fragrance or catastrophic results. Whether with fragrance, fragrance, maybe something nice, or catastrophic result. That's what I mean. And those of us who will be here, well, we will get the taste of the fragrance or the catastrophic result. Now, there are some serious things happening, behind the scene of the People's United Party. It's a very serious thing that they are brewing up, then they brew up a mug of coffee, right? You will not share it yet, but something is going on, because you don't hear no more about Portico. You don't hear no more about the constitution reform that they had. It's like they were on a roll with that, right? That God dormant.
They met their match, Mr. Chairman.
No. Redistricting. You hear a couple of them say, "Oh yeah, we are working on it. We are doing it."
Nonsense.
Right? With this chicken. So all I say that
Stalin
not
for
too long
president.
from now we will have another illegal election if they do not uh, do the redistricting. Another illegal election will be held in Belizean. Do they care? Doesn't seem so, because that redistricting is very serious and detrimental to a few of them, right? I will not
Mm-hmm.
call their name,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're all high and mighty and high on the little 2,000 or 3,000 constituency that vote for them, right? They're high on that, right? But if the redistricting is done properly, a lot of them will be upset, right? And there will be no more. A lot of them.
Mr. Chairman,
So
you said some of them have 2,000. The last general election, one of them win by only 600 votes. He get only 600 votes, and he was still able to go to the House of Representatives.
there you go. There you go. Right.
Oh man,
So so there you see they sit on it and
crazy.
waiting for it to hatch. Because the longer they sit on it, hey, it's good for them, right? What a shame. What a shame. And for me, I feel shame. But a lot of these suckers has no shame at all. They have no shame. They'll jump in front of the media and all the good things with no shame at all, right? With all the evil things that they do, with all the corruption that they are involved in. And some public, some people know about it, and some turn a deaf ear and a blind eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I say this to say that, there are some serious things going on in this country, right? You see them every day. They stand on the media and they talk about nice things and things that what the people want to hear, just verbal. That's what people want to hear. Oh yeah, the Belizean people want to hear about it. Make us say about it. And I say we and do it. And then next year we say we and do it. And the other year we say we and do it. Right? Because that's what the fools, that's what they say in their mind. That's what the fools want to hear, that we will do it. Right? And they just keep kicking the ball down the road. So I say this, to the leaders in this country: be real, man, because you never ban with that power. You never ban sitting on that CEO seat or that minister seat or that prime minister seat or that commissioner seat. Never ban with that. The same way you succeeded the last one, the same way one other one will come and succeed you. And where are you going? Maybe by then they will build a city up in the sky. Maybe you could migrate up there. But no, I don't think that will happen. So the very same people that you suppress, the same people that you take advantage of, the same people that you share your iniquities, your injustice, and your iron fist on, those are the very same people that you will pass in the supermarket or pass on the highway or pass on the street. Very same people. So be very mindful. Some might take it laying down, but some people might not take it laying down. So be very careful. And as for the security forces, what I've been seeing lately, be very careful how you go about administering the so-called laws, right? Administering the so-called powers. Be very careful of what you guys are doing, because there will be someone that you will not do what you're doing to and get away with it. You'll probably lie in the same morgue, both of you together. So be very careful. Not everyone thinks alike. You cannot say and you cannot predict what someone will do. Right? You cannot do that. It's wrong for you to do that. But what we are seeing, the way you guys are portraying yourself, the way you guys are carrying out your duties. And why I say this? Because I know the duties of a police officer. I know the duties. I know what you should be doing and should not be doing. That's why I say what I say. And a lot of you are doing it the wrong way. And you're hurting the very same man and woman that is paying your salary to help pay your damn light bill, to pay your mortgage, to pay your hospital bill. You're hurting that very same taxpayer, right? Who you swore allegiance to serve and protect. And you expect that when you do wrong, people should shake your hands and say, nice job. I, for one, would never say you're doing the right thing when I know that you are doing the wrong things to people. That's why I say what I say. So be very careful who you put your hands on. Be very, very careful. I'm only saying this to maybe save your lives. Okay? Do it the wrong way. I mean the right way. Okay? On that note, that's what I wanted to get off my chest there, Leonard. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll follow on the same trend that you was on just now. And I'd like to say, from what we have been seeing of the police department manhandling people in Belize City and in some of these other villages and other places, exactly what you're saying and the comment that you're making stands tall, very tall, in regards to these gentlemen, when they are among each other in a big group, then behave even worse than some of the gangs when it's so-called our police officers to go and discipline. But no police officer is entitled to go when they're supposed to go and arrest somebody for some perceived crime, whether the person is guilty or not, for the police officer to go out there and rain down hell and brimstone on the people them in the community, men, women, and children alike, beat everybody into submission because then they carry the guns. They got the BDF with them big guns, and then there the police officers them, they have their gunsling pan inside, and they have them Billy Club, they beat down people. That should only be happening in a state of emergency situation that is valid, and or it should only be happening within the bounds of legal police practices. It shouldn't be happening because it's aided and abetted and allowed to happen with impunity by the superior officers. Because, like you said, Mr. Wade, one of these days, those officers will be on the street, probably in civilian clothes, and they will meet their maker at that time, or they might even be in the police department clothes, and they will still end up meeting their judgment there. Because if you do not operate as a lawful operator on behalf of the state, and you think that you can use and hide behind the powers of the state to commit crimes under the color of law because you're a law person, and you're in a big group of law individuals who are all trained for violence and violence suppression, and you're going to just go and exercise violence against people wantonly. What you're saying is that those individuals whom you're exercising that power against have no legal recourse, especially when your bosses are exculpating you and are trying to make constitutional changes to allow you to be exculpated ahead of time for that type of nefarious behavior. That kind of outcome will lead to a situation where if the law men can't behave lawfully, then they will have to deal with unlawful repercussions. And I'm telling you, I'm not a legal person, nor do I contemplate any illegal behavior or actions. And there are people who think different than me, who would contemplate illegal behavior or actions as a way to get back their vengeance or revenge. And as much as I'm not an unlawful person or illegal minded person, I personally wouldn't stomach the kind of craziness that these idiots are behaving with out there. Because some of what they behave and carry on out there makes me so mad to the point that I would want to go and exercise some justice on behalf of the people whom they are beating down in that kind of way. Much less if they would try pulling kind of shenanigans against me. We are all not the same. What you said just now was a mouthful of truth. And these guys have to, first of all, remember, yes, when they are behaving like that, they're in a gang, they're acting like a gang, they're pumping up each other, hitting and abetting each other. When they go to the police station, they don't even make a proper report stipulating or indicating that they had misconduct themselves. In fact, they want to charge some of the same people that they had just beaten down with additional charges, fabricated charges at that. You think that generates any kind of goodwill?
These
I won't go any further with that, Mr. Wade. I'll just leave it
these
at that.
things, my people, has to stop. Like I say, I sorry that I cannot bring up some of these videos right now, but it's plain to see how people are taken advantage of. What harm can a man does when he's handcuffed, right? What harm can a man do when he's handcuffed? And yet they're not satisfied that they already have this individual
They beat the hell out of them people.
arrested and handcuffed. No, they use their boots, their fists, and they pick up these individuals, these young men, and just stone them like you pick up a piecer and you stone them in the back of a pickup truck, right?
Crazy.
And before that, you look him in the face and you slap him like you like it's your kid, not even your kid. You do something, just actually slap up somebody like, well, who does that? Doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make no sense, right? Yet you're gonna look in a grown man's face and just lift up your hand and slap not once or twice, 4 or 5 slaps. What is wrong with you guys?
None of the other officers restrain them,
right?
Or put them on interdiction, because that's a crime.
So then, now eventually that individual return the favor at some point. You're gonna, you're gonna say, well, like, he shouldn't have done that. Would you like for someone to do that to you? And yet you have the authority, your seniors is going to try to justify those tips. Oh, the tip didn't mean that, and this and because the man was this and the man was that, and they may behave bad, and this, that's why you may have. No, you have no right doing that, right? You have no right doing that. I just hope and pray, some of these guys get their street justice, find you, and return back the favor. Let you feel how that feel. to humiliate a human being, humiliate a man like that. You don't do that. Who gives you that right to do that? So sad, you know. Got to call these things out because some of these things that I see, my people, that the police do to some of these young men, man, my jaw dropped. So wow. And I said, damn, if I was there, I would do something about it. Right? That's how deep I feel when I see these kinds of injustice. Right? So you don't arrest this man, let the court, whatever evidence you have to this individual, let the court the strip place role.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right? You know, your job is to arrest the, if the man is doing bad anything or commit a crime, your job is to arrest that man or get to the bottom of it, but not in that manner. Not in that manner at all. Right? So, these things really, why I speak about it, and because it really upsets me. Right? And
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, if the police department cannot discipline its police officers or force them to comply with the police practices and procedures and not be committing crimes under the color of law for which they should be interdicted, then people will have to take their own judgment into their own hands.
That's what I would do.
And I'm telling you,
that's what I would do.
Your police department is bigger than the population that they're supposed to protect. You see what just happened to that country the other day? When they take over the whole parliament and burn down the whole place?
Like I say,
there's only so much a person could take.
Exactly.
After a while, they become like animals. They go wild.
So
you said and that happens all over the world.
Yeah, you said it right, Leonard. Like I say, man. Like I say, God forbid, if that, that would, happen to me, and I still have the breath, that would not end well. It would not end well, right? If they'll do something like that to me, the way I see.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, don't these officers remember that they have family members and extended family members, and that they're not untouchable 100%? Why behave like that? Anyhow, I yield back, sir. Sorry, just
no. I mean, mad, the things that has been happening lately, Leonard. I don't know how all of a sudden that spell comes over the police department. All of a sudden, that evil spell, that kind of action.
It comes from leadership, sir.
Right?
It comes from the heads, the leaders above.
So now it brings me to say, well, like, where is Belize going? Is this like a taste of, of something to come? A taste of something to come, worse to come? If they don't check this kind of behavior, Leonard, now, if they don't check it, we clearly see that bigger things is down the road for the Belizean people and for the public.
They're forcing it to be like that, sir.
So, Leonard, I'm going to give you your last word, and then I'll close out.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And thank you again for the privilege to sit with you tonight and to verbalize some of these concerns. And while these individuals may hear us or may not hear us, it shouldn't have to be that they have to listen to what we are saying in order for them to comport themselves correctly. They are grown-up people. They are people who are entrusted with the power of lawfulness, and to make sure that the country remains a lawful society. So why the hell try to break down those barriers by misbehaving themselves just because they have a badge, a gun, and a nightstick? There's no power vested in them to violate the laws. The power vested in them is to act as peace officer in the first instance. It's not everybody that they have to interact with. They have to go on like a bunch of stormtroopers and relate to with any level, unnecessary level of deviousness, disdain, and criminal conduct. But again, I'll leave that for right now, Mr. Chairman, because I know our time is running out. But these people need to stop throw caution to the wind because, like I said, not everybody think alike, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night, and
you,
thank you very
Leonard.
much, sir, for
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure, sitting in your company.
same here, sir.
So we discuss issues, and for the public out there, that we are about people and nation. We are not apologists for no individual. Um, we call a spade a spade. Um, I leave you all with this, that I call on the Prime Minister to equip the Belize Defense Force, which is our um, security force, branch of our security forces that deals with external breaches.
Uh,
Equip them. Go ahead.
before you close, Mr. Chairman, can I make one small
Go ahead.
statement
Go ahead.
in the context of what's going on right now with the Guatemalan? What they're trying to do is okay. First of all, there's a lot of oil in the Sarstoon and the Sarstoon Temash area on our side and on the Guatemalan side, and there's a lot of oil and gas and other minerals in the sea. So what they want is to dispossess us of the whole of that half of the country, so that they can do like what Venezuela is trying to do with Guyana, take a big part of their mineral resources so that under their control. They're not satisfied that they have the world's biggest reserves so far, but they're going to muscle a small little neighbor next door for take away half of what the other neighbor have. That's what these people are up to. Most of we Belizean people, they're of the opinion that, oh, well, Guatemala just want the country because they've been claiming it for so many years and they want to take. What they want are the resources. They don't care. Just today, one of their spokesmen was saying the very same thing. They could care less about the people. They just want to administer the place, have control of it, own the resources, and do what they want to do to be able to exploit those resources. And if we have to cease to exist as a country and then become subservient to them, or become a vassal state to them, or become their 23rd district, then so let it be. But they want to have control. And they have the powers to account to them to force that control. While for we leaders, the distance we from free defensive mechanisms and free treaties and other survival capabilities. I yield
Thank,
back, sir.
thank you. Again, I reiterate that the government of the day should equip the BDF properly so that they could deal with our borders properly and have the right equipment to deal with the incursions, and to defend Belize properly, right? Um, in fact, it seems that, in my view, that they do not want to do that. But what they do, they equip our security forces to beat down on our
Mm-hmm.
civilians,
Mm-hmm. That's
right?
what they're for.
So that really blow my mind, right? So um, the power is to be, check yourself, do the right thing by the people and for the people, right? And check the police force so that they do the right thing to the populace, right, carry out their duties the proper way, in a proper manner, right? And everybody will be happy. But if you keep going down this path, not going to end well. There is a lot to be desired right now of this government and the prime minister. There's a lot going on in this country that they haven't been answering. I hopefully that very soon that they will have to answer. I hope that again through this medium that these people that has these independent tape, these public people out there that had made some videos of the what had happened to Ryan Joseph Budner, hold it and bring it out on the appropriate time, right? Because what the government has right now and the tape that they have mustered, they are doctoring it up, right? They are doctoring it up to suit the report. We hear about that report.
The narrative.
Yeah, right. That report, they are waiting for that report, and what will be in that report will coincide with the tape that they will release to the public. And I don't see why they haven't released this tape to the public. What is there to hide, right? The public is demanding release the tape. So there must be something there that you don't want the public to see. Over maybe 20 days or 25 days already.
You can blow over like a little breeze,
right?
Chairman.
Come on,
So
So,
forget.
There's a lot to be desired of you, Mr. Johnny Briseni, and your government. Okay, a lot to be desired, right? And I just hope and pray that the truth comes out, publicly sooner rather than later. And on that note, it's a pleasure sitting in your company. For those who watch us, our program is only an hour and a half, so we would like to cover more and say more, but this is where we leave you. And thanks for your support, those who support us in terms of sharing. I'm not saying in kind, because when people talk, when you hear Leonard, you talk about supporters, they say that they give us money, right? So I want, to disengage that notion if anyone would think that way. No, thanks to those who share our program and tune into us and give us that like, and
the numbers keep increasing, Mr. Chairman.
Right. So thank you, because we here on this program, like I say, we try to speak truth, and we call out the ills and not afraid to do it, So we'll give thanks to the Almighty for giving us the fortitude, the strength, and the courage to do these things, because it takes courage and strength to do these things, right? Most of all, Leonard, I would say courage. It takes courage to do it, right? So, and I invite more, Leonard, to do the same. I invite more Belizeans to do the same, Haul out the ills.
The numbers are increasing again too, Mr. Chairman, in terms of people who are putting on their own platform their shows and things. It's becoming another way to checkmate or to pressure the government, to keep the government under some kind of discipline,
Thank you. That's the only way, Leonard. We got to, if nobody calls it out, if nobody complains, that means that they think that, they have us covered. But when we start complaining, they got to think about how they will shut us up, right? So that's where we got them.
Well, they make their laws already, and they see that never worked to shut us up.
That's where we got them. They could come 150 times, right? They could come. And on that note, I want to say good night, Leonard. And
good night, sir, and God bless. And thanks again for another wonderful program. And I'm sure that the Belizeans at home and abroad would appreciate your efforts. God bless. Could leave?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.